Welcome back to Truth Be Told, and I'm Max. Dwight's here with me as well, and we're going to continue this theme of priorities for the month of January. And I think we were getting to the financial aspect of it, and because we know Jesus talks a lot about that while he was here, and so we want to dive into that today.
Yeah, thanks, Max, and it's great to be with you again here on Truth Be Told. And we want to talk about finances in this session, and how do I manage my finances? How do I put those in? Going back to your expression from a few sessions ago, where how do you eat an elephant?
One bite at a time.
One bite at a time. So how do we put our finances one bite at a time? And so we're all limited in our finances. We look at somebody. I remember as a young man, one of my cousins worked for my father in the forestry industry, and my dad did fairly well. He was a hard worker. He was probably an overachiever, and a workaholic, but he was phenomenal as a money manager, and he knew how to keep it, and how to make it, how to keep it, and so on. And two comments that were made, and my cousin would say to him quite often, if I had your money, you know what I would do. And so it's easy to think if we had this abundance or more abundance of money, what we would do with that. And when my dad was in his 80s, my younger brother said to him one day, he said, "Dad, the older that you get, the cheaper that you get." And my dad looked at him and smirked, and he said, "Keith, you're wrong. I've always been cheap." But it's not about, and cheap, I'm going to say this before we begin this, cheap is not the way that we treat people, because I've seen people that are really cheap. Whatever they have is worth something, and their time is worth something, but they deal with everybody else, and to use a crude word, they try to screw them out of their wages or out of their lifestyle for their own benefit. And I've watched that over and over again. I've watched businessmen and I've watched people that are in business say, well, it's only business. But the business is telling, going back to Proverbs 4:23, it says, watch over your heart with all diligence. Right, because these are heart issues. Money becomes a heart issue, right? So often we say, if I had the money, I would do this. So how do you get the money? How do you take what you have? And so the first thing that I'm going to say, and for some of you that'll look at this beforehand, GPAC, Grand Prairie Alliance Church, is doing a financial money management seminar, or a whole series in the end of January that would really help you later on. But so first of all is sitting down and writing down what is it costing you to live, right? So this is all of my expenses. And at the end of that, you go, okay, what do I have left over for money? Or if you don't have left over for money, then you got to say, I've got to find a way to live within my means, and then Dave Ramsey, a guy I highly recommend and highly respect. Sometimes that I think some of his stuff is unrealistic for the average person, but he will say, okay, if I have this much money, how much money am I saving, right? Then he would say, how much money am I giving away? Whether that's to charities or, and because generosity is a big thing in this. Because
it's a tell of where your heart's at too.
Absolutely. And so generosity shows more of what our heart is like with God than probably any other area of our life. And if I'm stingy, I'm saying God is a stingy God. But everything God does there's an overabundance in it. And when you plant one seed of something, you're not expecting to just get one thing back out of that. And you plant one kernel of corn and you look at how much, and that's the abundance of God. And so sitting down and saying, okay, here's my budget. And, here's what it's costing me. Here's what I'm making. So when you look at that and you go, there's not enough money at the end of the month. And so what do I do? And so then what can I cut back on? What do I really need? So prioritizing, what are my needs? What are my wants? And so if I prioritize on my needs right now, I'm starting to set aside, as Dave Ramsey says, for the want. And so setting that and I think the other part is guarding your heart. So I'm not looking at what you own. I'm not looking at, the things that you own. I'm not looking at your house and say, wow, it'd be greater. And that's where that guarding your heart, and the scripture talks about beware of covetousness, right? Because that wanting what someone else has. And so that's the second step, I think I'd say in this, is to beware of covetousness of our own heart. And that's simply wanting what someone else has that you don't have.
Yeah, and I think that's like in this aspect, it's the same as the other ones. It's to sit down and reflect, look at the whole thing and reflect. When I think I need something, reflect on that. What is it going to do for me, or is it really something I need today? Is it going to produce? Is it going to feed the direction that I want at the end of the year, or is it going to take away from that?
Yeah, and will it take away from, again, life goals? Where do I want to be? And whether,
because 1 year is one thing, but 5 years, 10 years compounds.
Exactly. And that whole part of and life goes a lot faster than you think it will. Right? And I remember thinking as a young person and that I've got plenty of time, right? And I watched Billy Graham. It was a memorial service that they had for him, and they took clips from his messages over the years. And I think Billy Graham was probably late 70s, maybe early 80s, and he was preaching. In that preaching, he said, I never thought life would go by so fast. And the more that I talk to people that are my age and above, the more that I hear, it goes so fast. But when you're young, you're going, I got plenty of time, right? I got plenty of time. But if you start setting these things at whatever age you are now, because you can't go back, right? And then you look at, so you look at, what do I have? And if I can't make it here, I can pray and say, God, can you supply me with a job that uses my gifts, my talents, my ability, who you made me to be, that I can earn more in order to do this? And so, coming to God and saying, God, I'm relying on you. I'm going to be a good steward of what I have right now, and I'm going to use that. And so doing that, and early in our marriage, probably, I shouldn't say early in our marriage, early in our walk with Jesus, our pastor spoke about giving back to God, and some people call it a tithe. I call it just giving to God, and so from that Sunday on, Sherry and I designated a certain part of what we earned, and said, God, this is yours. And no matter what our salary was, we gave that. And that does two things. Number one, it helps you to create a generous heart. it also helps you to live on what you have, because you're going, okay, that part, the government comes from there for theirs first. When you get your check, the government's already reached in and took a percentage of that. And so then, then the next part is, so we said, God, we'll give you this. Now we're going to live on the rest of it. So begin to look at that, and through tight times and so on.
To manage that.
And also to pray and say, God, we need you in this, when things are low, and that dependence upon him. But, or what can I do, what things can I do that will save me more money? Doing my oil changes, whether that saves a lot of money with the price of oil and all of that today. But what things can I do that I'm able to do, not that I,
Exactly.
not that I mess up on trying to overdo, but learning to do those things, right? And my dad used to say, everything that you learn to do helps you to learn to do something else. And so, or what jobs can I do with available time, Max? And I'm going to end it with this and give you this difference between available and free that we talked about earlier. But with the time that I have that's available time, that I can earn something else to do this.
Yeah,
So-
because the free time, free time and available time could be the same thing, but it's a matter of what you do with it, I think, is important. And
Yep.
I think that wraps us up for this episode. And we might continue a little bit of this, but we will jump into a new theme here for the next month. So thank you for joining us on Truth Be Told today.